Hey there, you mean DC fans, and welcome if you're new. I am Mantis, and today we're going to get back into Absolute Martian Manhunter, issue number 7. Let's check it out. This issue begins with John in his living room questioning why Bridget and Tyler would be there. It's been a while, but wasn't there a fight and separation or something? And Bridget tells him it's all in his head. But what happens in his head also just, well, happens. The Martian peeks through an open door and tells him, time to wake up. Just as we expected, it was a dream, as John awakens staring at a cracked ceiling, still laying in his bed. He looks like hell, but still manages to get through his morning routine before lighting up a cig to get some nicotine instead of coffee. Outside his hopefully temporary housing situation called the Starling Motel, John's still puffing on his cig as an old lady passes by crying. I say lady as she's dressed like a lady of the night, actually. John notices everything here is pretty real and nothing's held back. Well, except the fake plants, fake names, and fake lovers. A place for people still searching for their place or trying to get back in that place, in John's case. Only temporary, he tells himself. John, driving to work, gets advice from the Martian, telling him that he's been through a lot with, of course, the cosmic fight with the white Martian, and he needs some therapy, or at least to talk to someone about what happened. I'm constantly thinking about Bridget and telling, Green Man and himself to some degree that he's fine. He can't hide his thoughts from the Martian, though. John drives by his house, or his old house, Bridget and Tyler still there, to possibly catch a glimpse of his family as they eat breakfast. He wonders, what are they having? How are they doing? And how did it get to this point? And Bridget's fine. She's still talking on her phone to her mother. And she misses John, but did notice that when he was with them, his head was somewhere else. So, of course, she's used to being alone in that case. John isn't worried about her, though. He's worried about Tyler. He notices something isn't right. He's just different. And as a reminder from the previous issue, the White Martian had possibly gotten into Tyler at the end, and we get a hint at that when we look at Tyler's eyes as he's sculpting monsters with his clay. John arrives at work finally, where the front desk worker greets him to his first day back at the bureau. He notices things look different and asks if they've remodeled, but she says that things haven't changed a bit. His superior greets him with a mouthful of chicken legs, telling him his 3-month leave of absence is over now. But a good thing is John has been cleared of all the charges regarding that blackout night or a few days. The night he and his family were attacked by the citizens of Middleton and, well, killed all of them. Another agent in the room interjects that it's ridiculous that he's been cleared with the pile of bodies that they found at John's house. And the investigation, however, showed that it was all in self defense and cleared of any and all wrongdoing. Dodging several homicide charges is good news. However, in its place, John has gained a desk job for the foreseeable future and stacks of overdue paperwork that needs done. John gets to work on that as he's seeing it as some kind of escape at this point from his personal life. How depressing is that? After 10 hours of work and not making a dent in the stack, he calls it a day. And the Martian knows this is not the type of therapy he was talking about for John either. No progress in the paperwork and no progress in getting his head right. John exits the building and passes the other agent in the parking lot from earlier, who mentions the mound of paperwork that's still in his office. And John responds not to push it on his first day back. The agent gets in John's face, telling him there's something off about John, and he's going to find out what that is. John can sense the hate in his voice, but reading his mind, he knows it's not all due to the lack of work John completed, and more due to the fact that the agent's partner recently died due to a heart attack in his arms. John responds, no hard feelings, and that he's sorry about his ex-partner Ellis. The agent looks confused, and how did he know about Ellis? On the way home, John notices the effect the Martian's vision had on the population of Middleton. If you remember, during that last battle between the Green and White Martian, for a brief moment, everyone in Middleton could see into the minds and memories of those around them. While the connection was initially really strong, it left the townspeople in a state of collective shame because the vision revealed everyone's darkest impulses and secrets. Now people can't even look at each other in the eye. John, recounting the events of that night, depicted as the White Martian pouring his quote unquote truth on the city and everyone. John thinks the White Martian was defeated and killed, but the Green Martian explains that life and death do not matter to Martians. Death is not a concept to beings like them. Life and death doesn't apply. So if the White Martian isn't dead, where is it? What is it? John asks. And for that matter, what are you? At first, Green Man says he can't explain, but John pushes for him to try. Okay, partner, buckle up, he says. The Green Martian then takes control and exposes John in a simpler form for him what he is. Simple, right? As the Martian tries to explain to John what the Martian is, well, I kind of feel like John in this case because none of this makes sense. But what I get, and I think John is getting, that the Martians are a metaphysical, or they are metaphysical, represented as the stone there, it's prism, and John, or the people's consciousnesses, are the light passing through the stone. The light is refracted in the stone, which imprints the colors to the light, and the light can be many colors after that, and imprinted as emotions such as empathy or hate. The explanation is overwhelming to John, and us, quite frankly. Enough to cause John to crash his car into a light pole and fire hydrant. After the crash, John is almost in shock, but not because he crashed, but the massive flood of information from the Green Martian. The White Martian has escaped. His defeat is only temporary and is in hiding, hinting at Tyler's picture there. We see Tyler depicted with his clay monsters and an evil eye of the White Martian seems to still be influencing Bridget, albeit a very small level possibly, as she smokes outside now, pondering the crazy things John said about Martians, and of course she thinks he's dangerous and crazy. That John needs help, and peering through the cracks of the ceiling of the motel he's staying at is the White Martian eyes. At this point, maybe John does need help. He needs to get his mind right if he's to save his family in Middleton. You see, John is still hung up on his family and wife. He misses them a lot. He thinks about them throughout every waking and sleeping moment of his day. We quickly shift gears to a young man about to get probed by aliens, look like little mantises, no pun there intended, until suddenly one of them, or one of the aliens' phones starts ringing with a playback song. The alien walks off saying it's the big man and he has to take the call. What's going on here? As we see, it was only a hallucination projected on the man, and a group of agents are trying to convince him he was abducted. The higher ups wanted some crazy stories to help distract that the stock market crash, and one of them puts a silencer on his pistol. The other one, on with a phone conversation, says, "Yeah, we're going to be heading to Middleton within the hour." That's when the man is executed on the table as the cleanup process begins. All right, guys. Thanks for sticking with me through this issue number 7 of Martian Manhunter. Again, we're back into it. But for those of you that did make it to the end of the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you know when we release another video in our series, either the Martian Manhunter or any of the other Absolutes that we're doing, or even the KO event tie-ins. And we're doing all the KO events. We've got playlists for all that stuff, so make sure you check all that out. And until next time, later.